Welcome to Myths and Facts, and today we will talk about top 10 best war movies you might have missed watching. Let us know what movies you have missed in the comments below. Number 10. Greyhound. During the World War II, crossing the Pacific Ocean was nearly impossible because of the German submarines called U-boats. An U.S. Navy destroyer named Greyhound is assigned to lead an Allied convoy across the Atlantic during World War II, carrying thousands of soldiers and tons of supplies across the treacherous waters of the Black Pit to Great Britain. An inexperienced U.S. Navy commander must lead this convoy while being stalked by a German submarine wolf pack. With no air cover protection for 4 days, the commander and his convoy must battle the surrounding enemy submarines in order to help the Allies win the war.
The wolf pack's haunting us.
Number 9. The Battle of Lonan. In August 1966, a 108 young and inexperienced Australian and New Zealand soldiers are deployed in Vietnam, and they are fighting for their lives against 2,500 North Vietnamese and Viet Cong soldiers in a rubber plantation called Lonan. In the pouring rain, Major Harry Smith and his dispersed company of 108 young and mostly inexperienced Australian and New Zealand soldiers are fighting against Viet Congs. Defending against a native military group, their casualties are rising. The average age of the Australian and New Zealand soldiers are about 20 years, and they are terrified by the continuous attack from the enemy soldiers. After regrouping, they held their company of 28 men against a platoon 1,000 Viet Congs. With 18 deaths and many casualties, they ultimately survive the attacks and gets help from the main base. Number 8. Hacksaw Ridge. This movie is based on extraordinary true story of Desmond T. Doss, who saved 75 men in Okinawa during the bloodiest battle of World War II without firing a single shot. Desmond reads the Bible and vows not to harm another human in his life. After joining the United States Army, Desmond refuses to touch a weapon. He gets into a lot of trouble for not obeying senior officers' command, but his father helps him to get out of trouble, and then he served with the army as a medic. They get posted to Hacksaw Ridge, Okinawa. Under heavy Japanese fire, and without a single weapon, he saved 75 men who were left by the army assuming they were dead. This movie is based on a true story and dedicated to express the extraordinary courage of Private Desmond Doss.
You'll have to trust me.
Number 7. Furious. Furious is story of a legendary battle where 17 fearless warriors defend their land against an army of thousands well-trained soldiers, which takes place during the period when Russia was under control of the Golden Horde. It's a medieval military story about the capture of the city of Ryazan by the Mongols in 1237, but it was not easy because of a small detachment of heroic strong men led by a mysterious brave warrior. Ryazan Knight Hevpati Kalavrat is the leader of the squad, which decides to fight back against Mongol Khan Batu, who has divided Russia. This is a story about courage, endurance, and self-sacrifice for the sake of one's country. Number 6. Outlaw King. After being declared outlaw by the occupying English Empire, Robert the Bruce raises an army of Scottish fighters in rebellion, and Church names him as the King of Scots. This movie is kind of sequel to Braveheart film because Robert's rebellion is started after the fall of William Wallace. After his father's death, Robert the Bruce led a rebellion, with multiple victories and losses against England. Their odds were really low due to the massive and organized armies of England, but their guerrilla attacks and strong leadership made them a small but very strong army. The movie ends with the Battle of Lonan Hill in 1307, where Robert the Bruce takes on a 3,000-man English force with only 600 Scots.
Join us to free our lives!
Number 5. Mosul. Between 2014 and 2017, ISIS occupied the Iraqi city of Mosul. During those years, The only group to fight the occupiers continuously was Nineveh Province's SWAT unit, made up of local men who had either been injured or had a family member killed by ISIS. Movie starts from a 21-year-old police officer barely survives a firefight. When the smoke clears, he meets the men who saved his life. The Nineveh SWAT commander of the unit make this boy a member of the SWAT team. This elite Nineveh SWAT team, led by Major Jason, deals heavy damage to ISIS camps. They attack several ISIS strongholds and survives. This movie greatly projects the urban warfare, strength and courage of the Nineveh SWAT unit. Number 4 T-34. During the German invasion of Russia, a junior lieutenant Nikolai in a small truck, along with the driver Vasia, barely survived, break away from the German tank. Nikolai arrives at the headquarters located in the village, where he is appointed commander of the only surviving tank. As the commander of a Russian tank, Nikolai deals heavy damage on occupying German Panzer tanks. In one of the battles, Nikolai and his crew get caught by the Germans and they are sent to a prison camp. While being held in captivity, he assembles a crew and challenges the German tank cases led by Jaeger, the German commander of tanks in Russia. After escaping from German prison camp, they make their way Poland in a T-34 tank. Story continue as they try to escape through the German artillery and heavy air attack and reach Poland. Number 3 The Siege of Jadotville. This movie is based on a remarkable story of a small group of Irish United Nations troops who come under attack from a much larger contingent of mixed tribal, government, settler and mercenary forces in the Congo. This Irish peacekeeper troop is commanded by Commandant Pat Quinlan. They are deployed to Katanga, in Congo, to protect the inhabitants of the mining town of Jadotville in the beginning of a civil war. Without informing Irish troops, United Nations advisor initiate a mission against the mercenaries in Katanga. Soon there is a reply from mercenaries to only United Nations unit in Katanga. This film demonstrates Irish troops' strength and how their heroic holdout is overshadowed by the political machinations of the United Nations and the Irish government. Number 2 Panther's 28 Men. This is the story of Panther's 28, a group of 28 soldiers of the Red Army's 316th Rifle Division, under the command of General Ivan Panther, that stopped the advance on Moscow of a column of 54 Nazi tanks of the 11th Panzer Division for several days. Though armed only with standard issue Mosin Nagant infantry rifles and DP and PMM 1910 machine guns, all useless against tanks, and with wholly inadequate RPG-40 anti-tank grenades and anti-tank rifles, they fought tirelessly and defiantly, with uncommon bravery and unwavering dedication, to protect Moscow and their motherland. With only $5 million budget, they used real tanks, some from museums and others are built from scratch. And they used real bullet sounds to make it feel like you are walking with them through the war. Number 1 Midway. Midway centers on the Battle of Midway, a clash between the American fleet and the Imperial Japanese Navy, which marked a pivotal turning point in the Pacific Sea during World War II. After Japanese Army bombed the Pearl Harbor, United States Navy intelligence discovered the Japanese Army is readying for another attack in Midway Air Force Base. United States Navy set up a trap to lure in the Imperial Japanese Navy by making Midway as a bait. Both Japanese Imperial Army and United States Army and their unique military culture and experience were also given fair screen time in this film. The film, based on the real-life events of this heroic feat, tells the story of the leaders and soldiers who used their instincts, fortitude, and bravery to overcome the odds.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out our other recent videos for myths and facts, and be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notified about our latest video.